And so we're gonna, I'm gonna do like a little light intro. So I'm gonna say another official, since most of us are here, another official good morning, everybody. Good morning. That's like, man, like, you know, energy. You know I'm gonna come with high energy, so I need y'all to pour back into me. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, good morning, family. All right, so our team was really excited about this Buy Back the Block song that came out, Rick Ross, Gucci Mane, 2 Chainz, and all the momentum it caused within our culture, because, you know, that's our niche, that's our thing. When I've been, you know, most of you know, and whoever doesn't know, I've been in real estate for 12 years now as a real estate developer, investor, realtor. I've managed mortgage companies, I've been a loan officer, and that's where the name Mr. Real Estate came in, not because I just gave it to myself, because I actually earned it. I've done almost everything in the real estate industry. I've owned, acquired, managed, consulted, and advised on over $20 million in real estate over the last 12 years. And so when we heard Buy Back the Block, we were excited about it because when I made my transition from walking the fence in real estate, when I say walking the fence, I mean I was just everybody's realtor, I was everybody's advisor, everybody's investor, and I was trying to cater towards everybody because our message is universal. It goes for all nationalities, all ethnicities, all races, and everyone. But when I was working at Sotheby's International Realty as a celebrity realtor, I mean, I was on a natural high. I'm coming off making a few $1 million as an investor in Newark, New Jersey and Central Jersey and owning properties. Then I got hired as the only African American male by Sotheby's International Realty in New Jersey. I was on NBC doing several episodes as a celebrity realtor. I also got called up by the Today Show on NBC to be a real estate expert on live TV. And so I was riding high on a celebrity realtor kick, but at the same time, I was going into our community, into the African-American community, to the minority community, to the urban community. And I was going into our community, and I was teaching hip-hop to homeowner financial literacy lessons in Newark, New Jersey, Malcolm X Shabazz High School, Barringer High School, the infamous West Side High School, Patterson, New Jersey, where the movie Lean on Me, where they had the bad kids and Lean on Me in Patterson, New Jersey, with Joe Clark. I was teaching financial literacy at their school, doing high school assemblies. And so I'm going into the hoods and I'm seeing the condition of my people and their financial IQ and their social condition. But then I'm going back over to Alpine, New Jersey, America's richest zip code, the richest town in all of America, where I'm selling multi-million-dollar properties. And I'm seeing people that are living in and owning $50 million houses and $30 million houses. And I'm like, but I'm seeing kids in our schools with holes in their sneakers. And as in the trap and in the hood, and you know what I'm saying, walking over crack vials. So that disparity really was hurting me because I was seeing it at its best, at its worst, I guess, at its height. And then me coming from the block, me coming from supplying the block, coming out of the streets and making my way through corporate America from the block to the boardroom, I personally knew that journey. I know what it's like growing up to a teenage mom. I know what it's like waiting in WIC lines and welfare lines, getting a free lunch ticket to school. Back when we had the paper food stamps. Like, I know what that's like. And I also know what it's like, obviously, to be living a more affluent or successful or financially free lifestyle. And so because I had that blessing and that third chance at life, and I say third chance because my first time being incarcerated at 18 years old for selling drugs in New York, New Jersey, they offered me 3 years to life in prison at 18 years old. And God let me scathe through, and I did serve the year in jail and came home. Started selling drugs more, went right back to the block, right back to trafficking, and then got caught up in Maryland in a small town called Cumberland, Maryland, where someone told on me and I caught about 12 drug trafficking charges. And God gave me another alley-oop, another blessing. And the cops illegally searched my vehicle, which is my only out from facing 15 years in prison. I only had to do 18 months because we leveraged the fact that the cops illegally searched my vehicle to get the majority of my charges thrown out. So there I go with another blessing, another scathe. So me going to prison and serving time 18 hours a day with a cellmate who was a double lifer, meaning he had 2 homicides, serving 2 life sentences, who had 30 years in prison, he told me everything I needed to know about the dope game and how to maneuver through the streets. So I came home at 21 years old from prison, and I went right back to the block trying to do it better. After 3 felonies in 3 different states, 2 illegal searches and seizures that helped me skate by. Not to mention a little minor, I was just telling my queen the other night that I never talk about this because it's like trivial to me, to my whole story. But my first time actually being incarcerated was at 17 years old. I was playing basketball in high school. I had the 5th highest scoring average in the state of New Jersey. after being ineligible for half the year because of my grades. I came back halfway through the basketball season and started off in my first few games with the highest average in the state. Now, I still was hustling though. I started hustling at 15, and once I got it going and I got my system going, I was going to high school, I was playing ball, I had my cousins working for me, working the block for me. So while I'm in school, my block was still working. I came home, took the second shift, and then I had the white girl, Katie, from school going to the city for me at lunchtime, copping my drugs and bringing them back. And so I had a whole drug operation going while in high school, and it got to my head, especially coming from poverty and being a young black man, I'm making more than my teachers. I know I'm making more than my teachers. And so nobody could tell me nothing. My basketball coach couldn't tell me nothing. You know, I'm going to school with, my first watch was a blue-faced American Rolex. And I remember my secretary asking me about it, and I'm like, you know, y'all can't tell me nothing. And so leaving out of one of our games, one of my basketball teammates, he had a stolen car. He had stole a car, right? I was big in New Jersey. And he had a stolen car, and he was like, he wasn't doing nothing with it. I was like, well, I'm going to the city later to re-up. I was like, look, I'll try to sell a car when I'm in the city. So that was our grand idea. So at 17, I left basketball practice, took a stolen car, or on my way to take a stolen car to New York City, to Harlem, to re-up on my coke run. And on the way leaving, he had the car like in the mall parking lot. So it was open, had a screwdriver in it. He just said, yo, all you gotta do is open the door and turn it on, it's there. That was a free trip to the city for me. I'm like, cool. So I go take this stolen Honda Accord, pull it out of the mall parking lot. Somebody says they see me break the window and go in. I didn't have to do any of that. It was a lie. But someone said they seen a young black kid break a window and steal a car. Nevertheless, it was stolen. But anyway, the police got behind me, and I went on a high-speed chase. And that's just what I naturally knew to do. Like, cops behind me, I'm gone. Like, so I hit the gas, go on this high-speed chase, got like 10 cop cars behind me. I try to make a turn doing 60, and I end up hitting a telephone pole. And like airbags come out, and I was just telling my queen, I was like, I could have died easily that day. And you know, airbag come out, blue dust, I had scar on me from the seatbelt, etc. So that was my bright idea though, to supply my block, to take a stolen car at 17 from New Jersey to New York, sell a car in New York, and come back with drugs. But these are all my real life experiences, as well as, like I just said, being on the Today Show, being on Fox News, being on CNN, being in boardrooms in a bunch of affluent and other places I never would have imagined myself leaving this space. So when we hear Buy Back the Block, and a decision I made at Sotheby's was, my message is for everybody. I'm a humanitarian, I love all people. But when I see the condition of my community and that we're not intentionally repaired, and we don't intentionally love each other, and we don't intentionally have any justice in what we need, and we were lacking so much deficiency, I made a decision in 2012 to don't straddle the fence of just being, you know, everybody's empowerment guy, because everybody does that. Everybody wants all the money in the room, all the eyes on them, all the attention. So what I said is that, and it's a conversation I really had with God, God said, if you take care of my people, I'll take care of you. And because I was concerned, I'm like, wait, you want me to leave my career, basically, marketing to all people, and specifically market to our community. You want me to bet on black people? That's what you asked me to do. You asked me to bet my livelihood on black people? And so I said, yeah, I'm gonna bet on my people. We'll come this side. And let's go back and repair our people and let the blessings pour in. And so that's why we were excited about the momentum from the Buy Back the Block song and the movement. It ties into our Level Up campaign that we're doing this year coming up, 2017, in Atlanta. If many of you may have heard, we have an initiative. Let me take a sip of water first because it's a good initiative. I want to say it clearly. Our school, our brand, the J. Morrison brand, J. Morrison Academy, J. Morrison Real Estate Partners, Tulsa Real Estate Fund, all our affiliates, all our partners, we have an initiative to help 10,000 committed families or individuals, starting here in Atlanta and throughout the country, to help 10,000 committed families and individuals increase their net worth by $100,000 in 2017. That's a $1 billion initiative. To help 10,000 people increase their net worth by $100,000, which is not hard, that's $1 billion of new net worth in our community. And so that's our goal in our campaign for 2017. We're gonna start right here in Atlanta. And what we're gonna do is just aggressive education. That's all. The only thing, the main thing that's wrong with us is we don't know enough about enough. I talk about it in the solution book, you hear me talk about it in the videos. We as a people were intentionally uneducated, intentionally forbidden to be educated. And then we as a people and as a community, we're just the When you see us today as what many call African Americans, I say Africans in America because we just here. But many of us today, we got to understand that our people were intentionally dehumanized, intentionally demoralized, intentionally deculturalized, intentionally uneducated. And so we're just the residuals of that. Like when we see all the ghetto or ratchet things that we do and all the hood and black on black crime or this, that, and the third, all the ways that we kind of pick ourselves apart, what we do wrong and what's wrong with our community, all that is a residual effect of what our community been through. We're just the children of that. That's all. So we're just the results of abuse, the results of trauma. And so as opposed to us sit here and be pitiful about it, my thing is let's poke our chest out, let's strap our boots up, where ain't got boots, borrow some boots, and let's get to work. And the work that has to be done is we have to do what Malcolm said is a aggressive campaign of re-education in our community. Like that's what we need. So what we're gonna do, all my team, affiliates, and partners, is that we're going through the whole city, private backroom meetings like this, on the block through our corner classes, Save a Dope Boy initiatives. We doing a seminar at a strip club for dancers on how they can exit the pole through real estate. We going everywhere. LGBT centers, I don't care if you're gay, I don't care if you're light skinned, brown skinned, I don't care about none of that. You black first. We going everywhere. Veterans initiatives for veterans, for people in college. And so what we're going to talk about today, one of the first things, we're going to talk about two things, core things today that fit into this initiative. The first thing is life transformation. And it's everybody has a block they got to leave. I don't care if that block is your college. I don't care if that block is the real corner. I don't care if that block is your 9 to 5. That block is your retirement. How do you leave the block? How do you transform and become the best you at life? And that's what we're going to talk about first today, is life transformation, and then we're going to talk about wealth creation. Because we always can talk about getting money, but if your mind ain't right, your heart ain't right, your soul ain't right, you're not spiritually aligned, getting money not going to do much for you. At a place in time when I first started, I've been getting money for a long time, but when I first started getting legitimate money and legal money, when I first started getting money where I could see 7 figures in my bank account, I started tweaking. I started doing what many young black men do when they started getting money. I started tripping. I started buying everything I could buy, going everywhere I can go, feeling like I was better than everybody that was around me, and I had that syndrome, that what I call the crab out the barrel syndrome. I made it out, and the hell with y'all. And so why I teach this, and why we teach it in our academy, in our school, J. Morrison Academy, we teach a self-mastery course, is because I realize is that I could show you how to get money, but if you ain't right inside when you get money, you're going to do all the wrong things. And you're probably going to lose most of the money based on your ego, based on your pride, based on you not having peace inside, because you're going to start spending all the money to try to be happy. You got to learn how to be happy without money. And you got to learn how to bounce back. God forbid you have turmoil in money. With all the money I made, I lost most of it in a few years from just spending it all. Balling out of control, ball till you fall, YOLO. And then I had to bounce back. But before I bounced back, I went through a damn near deep depression. I was so mad at myself, I couldn't believe that I messed up so much money. I couldn't believe that I was like MC Hammer, or like Antoine Walker, or like Mike Tyson or somebody. Like, you know, you say like, how do you mess up 30 million? How do you mess up 100 million? If I had 30 million, I would. No, you don't know what you would do. You had 30 million, you're gonna spend half tomorrow. What you talking about? So we're gonna talk about life transformation, then we're gonna talk about wealth creation. And this is really like we haven't marketed it this way, but it's really our official kickoff to our Level Up initiative next year and our Buy Back the Block campaign. We're gonna be doing a lot of aggressive education. And for those of you who are about this life and have an expertise or a field and wanna collaborate with us, like let's get down, let's build. That's what we're doing. So I had the fortunate inspiration yesterday, actually. And for those of you who've been following me or will be following me and have seen different lectures or speeches of mine, I've never written down a lesson or lecture. I just don't. I tried one time. Actually, I said never. I tried one time. I got asked to keynote a speech at Rutgers University about 3 years ago. And I wrote it down, this nice speech. And I got up there and tried to read it, and it sucked. And I was like, I'm never doing that again. So I usually just go off of, I have a gift, I guess you could say, and I go off of inspiration, and I go off like this vision in my head that God gives me. And so yesterday I thought of this, and I'm glad you guys brought notepads, and for those of you on Facebook, IG Live, you should have notebooks as well and should be taking notes. So everybody see the camera right there that Queen is holding? Everybody wave to IG Live, we're live streaming. All right, cool. And so I was thinking about life transformation. And I know I done transformed my life a few times, not just from the block to the boardroom, right? So I made that transition. And then I had my social awakening, and where like, not only did I understand wealth creation, but then I understood the importance of black unity, black love, and my social awakening, the solution. And so I was like, so I've been transitioning, I'm always evolving, right? And I have my 4 E's that I teach: evaluate, eliminate, evolve, and execute. It's like my formula, right? So I'm not gonna teach that today. And we have our outwork the work formula, big bodacious goals, be intentional about your goals, burning desire, big bodacious goals, be intentional about your goals, and persist. Not gonna teach that today. But we have another acronym that we're gonna teach on life transformation, and it's so perfect, and it's this. I want everyone to write in your paper, going down like I did, the word love. When you talk about transforming your life, the foundation of it, the root of it, of transforming your life is love. It's loving your life. That's the root of transforming your life, whether you're a 55-year-old veteran trying to figure out what's your next phase, or whether you're someone coming off the corner, or you're someone coming out of prison, or you're a single mom distressed, or you just got out of divorce, or you just filed bankruptcy, or you're trying to hit that next gear. You're a gang member trying to cross over, trying to clean up, whatever it is. It all starts with you got to love your life. And the first phase, and when we talk about the L in this acronym, is you got to take a deep and real look in the mirror. So I want everyone to write that down. And not only am I going to ask you to write that down, you may want to do it on another page, but what I want everyone to do today, and at home on IG, and if you're watching this recording, is really quickly, we want to take a couple of minutes. And the object of looking in the mirror, the object of that evaluation, is you got to be real with yourself. It's what I did on the block of 10th and Springfield in Newark, New Jersey, where I was supplying heroin to my community in Newark, New Jersey in 2005. And what I did on the corner is I was sitting back, I was about to turn 25 years old. I was about a month from 25, and I was looking at my life, right? I was like this. I'm on the block, like 5:30 in the morning, and I'm just watching my workers, and my partner, Shafiq, he's doing what he do. And so at that time, I transitioned my hustle. Like I sold cocaine my whole life. I never sold dope, heroin, weed, nothing else really. I sold coke. I was a coke boy. That's what we did in our town. And I had sent like 700 grams of coke, and a partner had some weed. We sent it down to Maryland, right, on this little trip that we do, where I had this little operation that worked like clockwork, where I had to touch nothing, right? I just sat back. I sent my money to Yonkers, New York, and my queen took the money up to Yonkers, and then she'd get the product from Yonkers, and she'd take it to this little stash house we had in Irvington, New Jersey. Then she'd put it in the blender and do what she do, and then she'd twist it and do what she do, and then she'd drive it down to Baltimore to see my guy, and my guy in Baltimore take it from her, give her the money, and bring it back to me. And I just stay home playing PlayStation. And so in that operation, some king, I guess you could call him that, from DC, got caught with a gun we didn't know, and decided that his route out of his gun charge was to set us up on our next trip. And so on one trip that we sent down to Maryland, I got a call on a private line that I had just for me and my queen, and she said, "Hey Jay, the boys behind me, and it's not a marked car, it's an undercover car." And so I told her what to do next, et cetera, et cetera. Again, third chance at life. The cops, being overzealous, illegally searched her trunk, found all the drugs, locked her up. We bailed her out 2 days later, or 2 or 3 days later after the weekend. She nearly went crazy in jail for 2 days, and I went crazy hoping that she ain't snitch. And she didn't. Again, third chance at life. She didn't tell on me, and we bailed her out, and I got the same lawyer that beat my other charge. He went in, and guess what? The cops illegally searched her vehicle. So they had to throw the whole charge out. She was facing 10 years. They threw the whole charge out. No probation, no nothing, like out, gone. But I took a reflection at my life at that time after that trip, which if she would have just said it was, hey, I got it from him, I already got 3 felonies in for the same stuff. So if she would have said I got it from him, I'm gone forever, right? So what I did is, after I took a reflection of my hustle, is that I switched my hustle from coke to dope. I said, I'm gonna leave the coke alone, I'm trying dope now. And so I got a partner who had some influence and some street muscle in Newark, New Jersey, and we started a dope block. And so as that is going on, I'm about to turn 25, and now I'm on a corner, and I'm learning. In any business you do or any hustle you do, it's always a learning curve. So now I'm going from 10 years of finally figuring out how to sell coke perfectly, I thought. Now I gotta learn the heroin trade. And so here I am turning 25, and I'm taking a look in the mirror at myself on the block, and I'm watching the guys who are working for me, mostly who are bloods, with their red flags hanging, dreads hanging, pants sagging crazy, big ass 4 5s on their hip. And I'm looking at myself and I'm saying, damn, Jay, that's not what the hell you thought. This is not what you wanted at 15, 16, 17 when you thought that this drug trade, this block was gonna be your way out. Here you are about to be 25 years old with 3 felonies in 3 different states. My daughter was born while I was in prison in New York. She was born when I was 18. I'm 25 now, she's 7. So your daughter is 7. You just had another close call just about a month ago that could have put you away forever. We'd have had other federal investigations. Like, what are you doing with your life? So I'm taking a deep look in the mirror at my life. Like, now, it's easy to know your life is screwed up or what you're doing is wrong, but you like put that like warped kind of immature mentality on, like, fuck that, I'm gonna give Richard Dot trying, like, yo, I don't care. No, I'm talking about taking a real look at your life, like that private look. And I'm saying to myself, like, yo, where I'm gonna be when I'm 30? And I only can picture 2 things, you know what? Dead or what? That's it. So I'm like, nah, I got this. So I try to reimagine it. I'm trying to remix it in my mind, like, nah, I can figure this out. And all I could picture myself was in a tan suit behind green bars, or with I'm literally picturing this in my mind, or with my head bleeding near a curb. It's all I could picture. And then, so I'm just looking at the situation and taking a look in the mirror, and then I said, you know what? Then I asked myself, I said, damn, Jay, I said, well, you've been getting money. I said, you get money, you got swag, you got charisma, like you smart. I said, are you a hustler or are you a drug dealer? Because see, a hustler can hustle anything. A drug dealer only can sell drugs. I said, I ain't no drug dealer, I'm a hustler, I can hustle anything. And so then at that point is when I said, all right, if you really can hustle anything, and you know this is going to end with you being dead or in jail, you know for a fact that one of these guys is going to pop you, or you're going to be locked up, whatever comes first. Then what other decision is there to make? Right? So we're going to talk about that. So what I want everyone to do today is we're going to take about a minute or two, and I want everyone to seriously take a real reflection of yourself right now where you are today. And I want you to think about where you want to be in life, your perfect you. I challenge all my coaching clients this week to the same challenge. Think about the perfect you, the ideal you. I'm talking about financially, I'm talking about relationship, I'm talking about spiritually, I'm talking about the perfect outfit with the perfect hairdo. Think about the perfect you right now today, and I want you to write down what things, what people, what habits, what about you today is stopping you from being that perfect you. I want everyone to write that down today. Think about your perfect you, spiritually, financially, relationship, and everywhere in between. And think about what about you today? Who's around you today? What habits do you have today? What are you not doing enough of or could be doing more of that is stopping you from being the perfect you? This is your first step to life transformation. You got to take an honest look in the mirror, a real look in the mirror, and think about your perfect life. Because if you don't think about your perfect life or know what's stopping you from your perfect life, you can have a blueprint to your perfect life. This is your first step. Think about what your friends look like in your perfect life. Think about what your bank account looks like. Think about the peace of mind you have in your perfect life. What your family looks like. What your health looks like. What size are you? How strong would you be? How many miles could you run? All right, great. So now when you take this look in the mirror, right? As I did it off the block. I told you earlier about how I did it at Sotheby's, right? It's the same thing. I had to take a look in the mirror like, all right, Jed, you're here. You're on NBC. You're gaining fame. You've already conquered a lot in real estate. You see what's going on in your community. Take a real look at where you want to be and what's your why and who do you want to be, right? And so after you take this look in the mirror about your real life, in this love foundation and love in your life, you got to realize this, what I said earlier. You only have one life. Right? So write that down. One life. You only have one life. So the key is, since it's YOLO, since you only live once, the key is not to be reckless with your life or reckless with your finances or reckless with your health. Since you only live once, it's to make the most out of your life. So I want everyone to write down right now, what could you be doing based on what your perfect life looks like? What could you be doing knowing you only live once? We only get one of these. This is it. It's a wrap. For all we know, it's a wrap. So if this is your one chance, your one shot at it, what could you be doing right now, right, with this one life you have? What are the things you can be doing to make the most out of this one life? What can you be doing to make the most out of this one life? That's what I said to myself on the block. Jay, you only got one of these. I don't want to spend it in jail, call it home, collect. I don't want to be showering with men for 12 years. I don't want to be eating jail food for 12 years, for 7 years, 5 years, or 2 days. I only got one of these. So think about what could you be doing to make the most, to squeeze the most out of this life that you got. Realizing that is so vital because you won't screw it up. See, we let music gas us up. We let the weed gas us up. A couple of drinks, Patron shots gas us up. And a bunch of other influences that have us living our life recklessly. Like we get another one, like we get a redo, like it's a game, like you get a reset or something. And then when it's too late, you talk about who you could have been or what you used to want to do. Even if you're 55, 60, 70, 80 years old, don't matter. It's still your life. Whatever you got left, you got left. I just read an article yesterday off of Instagram of a woman here in Georgia who's the oldest black woman in America, 112 years old. We don't know how long we got. But then we hear stories about people that instantly, out of nowhere, die at 30-something from heart or whatever failure. You don't know what you got, so you got to make the most of the one that you do have. But you got to be intentional about it. That's the key. It's easy to say theoretically, of course. But are you intentional about making the most out of the one life you have? That's how I live life. I live life like I know I only have one. And so the one I have, I want to make as impactful and as important as possible. So think about that and even write that down. How can you make this life as impactful and as important as possible? If that's a different answer than what you already wrote down. How could you make your life as impactful and as important as possible? It's one thing just living your life and you're cooling, but how do you make it as impactful and as important as possible? So now let's talk about the V in our love formula. The V is for very important people. Write down who are the very important people in your life. Who are the people that you should be doing this for outside of yourself? Because what this ties into is being selfless. And everyone should write that word down, selfless, and circle it on your paper, please. And if you don't got paper on your phone notes, put an asterisk next to it. Selfless. Who are the very important people in your life that motivate you, that inspire you? For me, at the time, I was thinking about my daughter, Anna, who was 7. And I remember going to one of her first grade, like parent-teacher kind of things. And, I'm chilling. I got a diamond J chain on and some Timbs on, some jeans, and I got a pocket full of money. And when you're getting money, however you're getting it, you usually feeling yourself. But when I took the honest look at my life, and I thought about Anna and thought about what her future looks like with me on the path that I was on the block, I had to think about, damn, what's life gonna be like for Anna when I'm dead or in jail? She could say, yeah, my daddy bought me the first Jordans. I got some diamond earrings. She couldn't even be proud or even say really realistically what I did. I had to tell her I did something. Oh yeah, I do real estate. When we go to our parent-teacher stuff, I wasn't doing real estate. I was hustling. But now, let's fast forward, right? You guys have the luxury of using my life as this guinea pig, this test dummy, this beta test. So now Anna's 17 years old, right? So I made the transition off the block. I transformed my life, right? You guys know me as a Jay Morrison, today. Y'all don't know that Jay Morrison. That carried a gun every day of his life, that sold drugs. I remember when Anna was a baby, one, she had to visit me in jail. When her mom was even pregnant, she was coming to Rikers Island for me to see her when she was pregnant. But when she was a baby, when I came home from prison, I would go to New York, I'll just hustle. That's all I did was hustle. So all my stories, except for 25 on, they're all gonna be drug stories. That's all I did. And so I remember Anna being a baby, not even walking yet. And I remember I went to the city to get probably a quarter kilo, 250 grams of coke. And I remember that because it was so much and I didn't have my partner with me and I had to bag it all up myself. So I'm bagging 250 grams up in the .220s, which is like a lot of damn 20s. And so I remember going with her mom to a local hotel in New Jersey. My daughter's a baby, putting my daughter on one side of the bed while she's sleeping as a baby. I take the mirror off the wall, put it on the table, bust down this whole mountain of coke. I got all these sandwich baggies, and now I'm twisting and bagging all night. And now we got all the baggies on the bed. My daughter's on one side of the bed, and now I'm cutting baggies, the corner of the baggies, and we're bundling them up in little packs. And all the packs are next to my daughter on one side of the bed, and she's on the other side of the bed. She don't even know where her life, what it was for her. But now I fast forward and look at my daughter now, who just did her senior class speech as valedictorian for her school. She goes to one of the most prestigious private schools in the country. She can say my daddy is a real estate developer, he's a humanitarian, he's a 2-time best-selling author, 3-time author, TV personality. All these things she could quote her daddy was that her daddy wasn't. All because of me making some very important choices because of a very important person in my life. I wanted to be something that she could be proud of. That was a huge motivation for me, was to be something that my daughter could be proud of. Also to be somebody and someone that my mother could be proud of. My mom hustled. My mom sold drugs when I was young. My biological father, who left when I was 3 months, he sold drugs. I sold drugs with him when I was 17. He's the one who taught me how to cook up crack. My stepfather sold drugs. My grandfather sold drugs. My Uncle Skipper sold drugs. My Aunt Dawn sold drugs. So my mom understood the lifestyle. She could say, yeah, my boy, my mom told me, she said, boy, you don't get locked up often, but when you do, it's always some big shit. That's what she told me. I didn't go back and forth to jail a million times. I wasn't a knucklehead, but when I got locked up, I got locked up. But my mom could not be proud of, at 25, the boy that she raised. Other than that, he's making his way in the street. He got a couple dollars. He can send me some money and, not really proud. Not like proud like she is today, proud. My mom's extremely proud of me today. You can imagine. She's like, my mom's happy. She's proud, Facebook proud. She's always posting me. I'm all over her office walls. I'm her firstborn. And my mom, my grandfather literally brought my mom to the abortion clinic when she was pregnant with me. Not just to the clinic, my mom was on the table. My mom, she told me this. She was on the table in the abortion clinic, waiting for the doctor. and couldn't do it and got up. So I got 4 chances at life. Lucky, blessed. So when you think about, everyone, did I tell you already to write down the very important people in your life, right? Okay, these people should inspire you to take that look and live this life vigorously with importance and purpose. And then, when you think about all this, right, the E in our formula, is to exit and execute. And again, this is just not for dope boys or for those doing illegal activity or trying to figure out another way out of a certain kind of life. This is for everybody. Sometimes not even exiting a literal corner or block, is exiting a mentality that you got. Whatever's holding you back, whatever's blocking you, is exiting and executing this new life that you know you should be living. I'm constantly challenging myself. And listen, we human. We are human. We're going to waver sometimes. Sometimes we're going to health kick for 2 weeks and then that apple pie looked good and you backslide a little bit. But if you constantly are evaluating yourself, you're constantly looking in the mirror, you're constantly thinking about who motivates you, as one life you have, it should always bring you back to center. It should always bring you back to, I'm tripping right now. Let me get back on my job. I'm tweaking right now. Let me get back. All right, I haven't been praying enough. I haven't been meditating enough. I haven't been giving enough. I haven't been loving enough. I haven't been eating well enough. I haven't been saving enough. Whatever it is, this is about getting on your A game and being real with yourself. A game, no, just because you got a bunch of Louis and Gucci, some gold chains, don't mean you're on your A game. Material things don't amount to an A game. You could have a bunch of money but live a poor life. A life that's not important, that's not impactful. And it's getting our people past the mentality of just money over everything. That whole mentality that money is the barometer of our success and of a great life, because it's bigger than money. It's about being impactful and important. Malcolm died broke, but we needed him. Martin died broke, but we needed him. Harriet Tubman, Rosa, Nat Turner, Fred Hampton, Marcus Garvey, and so many others. We don't measure them about how much money, what was Marcus Garvey's net worth? What was Harriet Tubman's net worth? What was Nat Turner's net worth? What was Fred Hampton's net worth? Khalid Muhammad's net worth? What was their impact? What did they do to allow us to be here in Midtown Atlantic Station, Atlanta, in Georgia, with a room full of black and brown folk, talking how we want to talk, doing what we want to do? Impact. That's what's important. So this is our strategy for my strategy, our strategy for life transformation. And it boils down again to love. Yo, it's loving your life, loving your family, loving your community, loving other people enough to know, not loving money. All your excuses of what you could be doing on a Saturday afternoon, other than being here. But this is important. Imagine we do another one and everybody bring somebody. We're gonna have a church in a minute. But not with a collection plate and a pastor driving a Wraith. Make an impact. So that's our life transformation formula. And on that, I want to hop into our wealth creation, but I want to know, are there any questions on the life transformation formula? And can I get a time check, please? I didn't set my watch today. Great. Any questions on our life transformation formula? All All right, cool. Did a great job, I guess. So, yeah, feel free to squeeze in. We family. And so I want to talk about now, we'll talk about this general life transformation. I think it's really important, and it's going to be really huge for all of us to have this formula. Even if you are on path in life, it's great to have a formula in which we can give back to other people that might be, right? Because many of you, it may not be you, but someone in your family, friends, loved ones, somebody in your sphere of influence that needs a formula like that. Like, you got to get yourself together. And now we talk about wealth creation and our initiative to help 10,000, I like the word help, but I guess you could say that, to assist, same thing, 10,000 committed families and individuals starting here in Atlanta and throughout the country to increase their net worth by $100,000. I want to talk about the principles of wealth creation, right? And even the principle of net worth, what that looked like. That was a big thing for me, is even understanding what net worth was and what family wealth looks like. And so, can anyone tell me really quickly what net worth is? Anybody? Yes, sir.
Actual, what you actually see. Like the gross is what you made, but the net is what you actually pocket.
Close. That is net in a sense. King Chris?
I was gonna say all your assets minus your debts or whatever.
Absolutely. Your net worth is simply it's the sum of your assets. I'll say all your assets minus your debt and liabilities. Minus your debts. So when they tally up, and we do this, and we're going to be doing this more in our company for you all. We're going to be doing like this net worth evaluation, which we call a financial X-ray. But when we do this, we take the sum of your assets, meaning real estate that you own, businesses that you own. What's the value of those businesses? Talk about, you may have one of our clients. He has like two not luxury, but two antique cars that have like crazy value. Jewelry that you own, life insurance policies. All these things are assets, right? Any annuities, stocks, CDs, 401ks, pensions, savings, money in your mattress, whatever it is, all your assets, then minus your debts and liabilities. What do you owe? Who do you owe? How much do you owe, et cetera? And then that equals your net worth. So many times you'll hear like, Jay-Z is worth $502 million. Puffy's worth, et cetera. Warren Buffett's worth. This is not how much cash they have in the bank. That's usually the picture that we formulate in our heads. It's if they were to sell all their businesses, all of their intellectual property, all of their assets, and then minus all their debts, that's how much they are worth. So if you were to cash out on your brand equity, your brand value, your company value, and the value of their companies, and typically the way you value most companies is either, it depends on the industry, but most companies are valued at 3 times their yearly gross. So if your company makes $200,000 a year, your company is probably worth about $600,000. Some industries, 7 times the gross, depending on the industry. So that's how you find the value of a company, right? So you may have a small business, and your business makes, $600,000 a year. Now you might only be seeing $30,000 of that, because you got staff to pay and operation costs, et cetera. But when you actually do the valuation on your business, you have a $1.8 million business. But if you don't know that, you can't even add to your asset columns. You're sitting there beating yourself up. Oh, I suck, I'm poor, I'm broke. But you don't even know. Net worth-wise, depending on what your debts are, you could be borderline worth $1 million. Don't even know it. Not even giving yourself credit for. Queen's smiling back there. She's like, yeah. Baby, we on. So we're going to be This is something we're going to be covering a lot of, and we're going to be helping our community to increase our net worth, understand net worth, and increase our net worth through one big thing that we have totally not taken enough advantage of is life insurance. Life insurance is one of the biggest pass downs of family wealth that other communities take advantage of that we don't take advantage of enough of. It's simple life insurance policy. It's it doesn't even cost you much, but having a strong life insurance policy, so if God forbid something happened to you, or it will happen to you one day, because we're all going to die, that you have now value, assets, finances you can pass down to your family. And if they do that, then you start accumulating this big lump sum of family wealth if they're financially responsible. So if you are intellectually mature and you have a strong financial IQ, and your kids or siblings or cousins or whomever, people in your family have a strong financial IQ, and everyone has life insurance, then everybody's going to die, and everybody passes that money down, but now when we get the money, we want to go ball out and buy Bentleys, but we actually do smart things with the money, and that keeps happening from generation to generation. That's how you build family wealth. Because now, when I pass, my daughters can inherit $5 million, and they'll be financially astute enough to know what to do with that $5 million. And now instead of them just going to the club and turning up on my money, they can go buy some assets and ensure that they have strong policies and residual income, et cetera, right? So that's just one point. But what I'm going to talk about for the most part today, I'm not going to talk about that. I want to make the life insurance point, and we actually have one of our team members here who can help you all in regards to knowing more about life insurance or to apply or register or get some info. So we do have someone here. So that's our whole thing, not to teach you, but actually give you a vehicle that you can use to facilitate and make it happen. So we will have someone at the end that we can point you to who can help you on that part. But I want to talk about the 5 kinds of rich people, right? We talk about wealth creation. So, and it's something that we've really identified. Our team spent hours in the office. We're always trying to just figure out how do we drive the message home of all this information, because there's a lot of information. So how do you consolidate it in a way, and then you break it down in a way where it's digestible by our people and it's not super long lectures and we just get it and then we know what actions to take. So we are having, and our clients and students are having a lot of success in a few different areas, and so we're going to break these down for you all. So one of the most common things that we find, I guess I'll start, okay, we'll start here. We'll start with the cash. All right, so those people who are cash rich, cash, I'm talking about cash, savings, right? Money in your safety deposit box, money in your shoe box, money under your mattress. And when I say rich, doesn't mean you gotta be necessarily a millionaire, but I'm saying that you have a substantial amount of cash in which you can invest, cash in which you can make you more cash. So you have people that are cash rich. Then you have those who may not have cash, may or may not have cash, but are equity rich, right? Meaning they own property. You might have just bought your first house a few years ago, and hey, just years went by, and now your house is worth $80,000 more than what you paid for it. It's worth $140,000 more than what you paid for it. Or you got 3 or 4 houses, or you inherited properties from family, or you got land down Mississippi somewhere, but it's worth some money. Meaning that you have property or land or assets. You may or may not be cash rich. You may not have physical cash, but you got equity somewhere, right? So we find that a lot of people in our constituents are either cash rich, equity rich, right? And then we say there's some that are asset rich. Asset rich, I'm talking about mutual funds, 401ks, pensions, CDs, right? So I'll put some of those in there. Some people ain't got no cash, no equity, but they got a good 401k, or they got a good IRA, or good pension, right? Maybe CDs or some stocks. So there are some people that are asset rich. And some are a little bit rich and everywhere, right? So it could be any combination of all of these things we're going to talk about today. So you got cash rich people, equity rich people, asset rich people. Then you have those who we call credit rich. They ain't got no cash. They ain't got no crib, no equity. They ain't got no assets. But goddamn, my credit score is good. I took care of that much. So you have those who are credit rich. And some people, again, are a combination of all of these. And then we have those who are, what I say, are rich in ambition. They ain't got no credit, they ain't got no cash. They may not own shit, but they willing to get it. They got drive, they got ambition. Because there are people who don't have any of this and don't even have the ambition. They're just poor, they're broken. Right? That's the other kind of person who we don't want to be, but we do find them. And this is who we want to build up, right? This is the person who needs a life transformation. You need that spark. You broken. You ain't, look, man, I ain't got no credit. Man, look, I don't want to hear that shit. I ain't got no cash, man, ain't for me, man. I'm from the hood, man, look, hey, I want to get high. You just lost in the sauce, lost in the matrix. And we all know those kind of people too. Or you just want to spend your last and get your hair done. Like, that's it. Like, I ain't got no credit, I ain't got no house, man, but I look good, that's it. We got those kind of people. And so what we've found, right, and why the way I broke it down this way is because, and I know so much and I've done so much, some things that are pretty substantial and that I should be hammering home on, I feel like might be boring to y'all, or maybe because it's boring to me. Not boring to me, but I just, it's like, it's different. And so I was talking to my queen the other night, Jessica, and I'm always like fretting over my marketing, my branding. I'm like, I'm not getting my message across clear enough. Like, I'm not being clear enough with the people. Like, like, how can I get across better? And she's like, babe, like, this is real simple. She was like, you come from poverty, you come from adversity. Like, you changed your life around. You use real estate as your vehicle to change your life around. It made you a lot of money, and now you want to give it back to the people. I was like, oh, yeah. Makes sense. And so we talk about real estate investing, and it may not be for everybody. Home ownership should be for everybody because you got to live somewhere anyway. So how aggressive you are with it, I mean, that's on you, but everyone should have the simple principle of at least building equity through the home in which they live in. Like, nobody should skip out on that part, because if you don't at least do this, you're going to end up just spending rent to live somewhere anyway. And now you're going to pay for someone else's family to gain the appreciation, the tax advantages, the cash flow from you, the power to control. They strike oil in the backyard, that's their oil. They find gold or diamonds in the backyard, that's their diamonds. If the world gets cluttered and they start building up, that's their air rights, not yours. So you might as well go ahead and at least do that part, be Lord of your land. That's the basics. Now for me, I saw real estate and I've used real estate as a vehicle for me to get out. Right? So I was able to do that. But for everyone else, you pick your poison. You might say, hey, real estate for me, I want to be a day trader. Or I want to do gold or commodities, or I want to be a graphic designer. Whatever you want to do. But I think at the very least, everyone in these categories should at least understand how real estate is number one wealth-producing vehicle in the world. And so I'm going to break down how each of these people can leverage their richness, right? Because we talk about buying back the block, right? So Ross and Gucci and 2 Chainz did this song, Buy Back the Block. And I was like, that's dope. But now, for the average millennial, for the average person in our community who gets that concept, let's buy our neighborhoods back. Yeah, let's do it. But how do they know how? But who know what a FICO score is? Who know what a DTI is? Who know what an LTV is? Who know what a PITI is? So it's cool to say it, but then how do we actually buy back the block? So that's my job. Y'all rap about it. I'm going to teach us. Simple. Tag team. And so how we buy back the block is simply this, understanding that everybody in our community falls in one of these categories. The broken person needs to be rebuilt, needs to be healed, needs to be loved, needs to be empowered. See, what I say to everybody is you got to understand our community. I liken it to being a family raised up in a foster home with abusive parents. If all of us were one big family, everybody in this room, one big family, right? Queen, can you scan the room with the IG live? This is all our family. IG, your family too. We're all one big family with two horrible parents, very abusive, emotionally abusive, physically abusive, right? And I know what that's like. I talk about it because you never know what relates to somebody's experience. So my family hates it a little bit, but I'm very transparent and open about my life. I don't like I see a lot of teachers, experts, gurus who tell you a lot of this side information, but you really don't never know the person and what they've been through, or really know, where'd you get all this information? You just read some good books? And so for me, I talk about my real life experiences again, just because I'm living a purposeful and important life. And so I remember being 13 years old, and my stepfather, he was suffering from a heroin addiction. He was locked up in prison for like 13 years, and he came home and he had a drug addiction. But he was very abusive, physically, to my mother. Like I remember my mom, black eyes, bloody lips, emotionally, verbally, etc. I remember one time, it was in our culture, we all got spankings. We call them beatings, belts and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes wires, hangers, whatever. I don't know how your people did it. But, so I would get excessive beatings for getting in trouble. But one time, my stepfather, I won't say punched me, but he gave me a smack that could have been a punch. And he knocked me to the ground, right? For like not cleaning the bathroom properly. And he stood over top of me, and I was on the ground, like 13 years old, and he was a pretty big guy. And he said, "You know the difference between me and you?" He said, "I don't care if you live or die." He said, "I'll knock you down, I won't let you get up." He said, "You'll knock me down, you'll let me get up." And that's the difference. And so I grew up very angry because of that. And so I had a real chip on my shoulder, growing up. Like all this led into my story. And I've seen him, spit on my mother and call her kinds of bitches and other names in front of my siblings, etc. So I just seen a lot of anger, a lot of trauma, right? So I'm saying that to say, I know as a people in general, we all have different experiences. But under the circumstances our community has lived in, it's been traumatic. But you got to understand that all of us deal with trauma in different kind of ways. Some of us can grow up through abuse, through this government system that's this abusive parent to us and to our community for the last 398 years. Some people can shake that off and be an Oprah, be a Jay-Z, be a Russell Simmons, be a Jay Morrison. Some people deal with it differently and are one of the ones we seen on the news who were shooting police or gangbanging or shooting each other or becoming a drug addict or becoming a prostitute or whatever. You can't look down on your brothers and sisters because they deal with trauma differently than you. That's my point. Because someone else is at a different point of their healing process or at a different capacity or different strength. You can't deal with the broken person. I could have easily broke. I was on the cusp of breaking many and many times. So you can't look down on our brother and sister who has dealt with this trauma of poverty, of biased policing, of biased sentencing, mass incarceration, war on drugs. All these things that we've highlighted in the solution book and that we talk about, we got to be empathetic and compassionate to our people and understand our circumstance, our brothers and sisters. We've been in this foster home, right, this foreign land, and everybody deals with the circumstances differently. And so we got to be very cognizant of that, right? So we help heal the broken person, right, and get them inspired, get them invigorated on life transformation and seeing the opportunities at hand. So one of the first opportunities that we found as an organization that has helped so many within our coaching program and our students, et cetera, is this part, the credit part. I think is the easiest entry point for everyone for building wealth, right? We say we'll cover life transformation today, and we're covering wealth creation today, right? Life transformation and wealth creation. So on this wealth creation wheel, what we found is that the dope part about credit is that no matter